We are wrapping up week 13. Week 14 is about to begin. It's going to be a wild one. We got a lot of must-win games coming up here. This is Snap the Pigskin. And I'm Noah Clark. Good to hear from you. Good to see your faces. If you're watching this on YouTube, give a like and subscribe to the channel. We got some good stuff today. We got Burrow. Joe Burrow coming back for the Cincinnati Bengals. How much does it impact Cincinnati in getting themselves back into the playoff picture? The New England Patriots getting their 10th straight win. We'll talk an incredible Week 14 slate, obviously, and Packers-Bears, the big matchup of the week. The winner gets the number 1 seed and sole control of the NFC North, bringing home the bacon and our Pigskin Primetime picks. So, I hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving as much as I did, and we get started right off to Thanksgiving. And we talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow returning for Cincinnati. What a huge boost it was for the Bengals to get him back. And just in the nick of time, too, they come back and they beat the Baltimore Ravens. They feast on a little bit of Raven along with turducken. And if you guys have never tried turducken, I haven't tried it, but it looks kind of disgusting. And it's a turkey stuffed inside a chicken stuffed inside a duck. And you could add a little Raven sauce on that as well for the Bengals. They win this game. They won this game going away. This game was no contest. Joe Burrow and that offense looked like the Joe Burrow and the offense we are used to seeing. And it was really good to have him back in that lineup. I think for the Bengals, their season was on the line. They needed to get themselves a win, and they needed to get themselves a win to keep themselves in this playoff race. And they got it. They got it in a massive way, and they win on Thursday night against the Ravens. Final score of that game, 33-15. It was 32-14, 32-14. This game wasn't even close. And Cincinnati's not out of it yet. They're not out of it yet. They still got to play Baltimore one more time. They've already played Pittsburgh twice. They've already, I believe, played Cleveland twice. If they sweep the Ravens here this season, they are still within a spot of making the playoffs, and they're not far from it. They're sitting at 4-8. They have a 3-1 record this year in the division, so that is very huge. The bad news, though, is if the playoffs were to start today, and I'm saying this too, is if the playoffs were to start today, the Bengals would be out, but a win over the Ravens, and if they win out the rest of the way, they could still be sitting by the end of the season in a very good playoff spot. Now, I don't know if that's going to get them enough, if that's going to get them, they're probably going to get a 7 seed. I don't think they're going to win the division by any means. A lot of things would have to happen. A lot of crazy things would have to happen in order to win the division. But there's still time. There's still time. Now, the sad part about this is if they don't make the playoffs, it's another conversation where you have to, it's another conversation where you look at this front office again, you look at the job that they've done. They didn't do a good job again on the offensive line. Joe Burrow, it's the same situation. Joe Burrow got hurt. The Bengals team didn't play well. They didn't play well in his absence. And then when he comes back, lights it up down the stretch of the season. We've seen this before. We saw it last year with Cincinnati where they just never got off the mat. And the Bengals ended up having Joe Burrow miss a few games. And then towards the end of the season, Joe Burrow comes back and the Bengals start to light it up. We've seen this before from the Bengals team. This is nothing new. What is very frustrating, and for Bengals fans this year, is just how frustrating of a season this is. And how big of a win this is for Cincinnati. Like, this is a massive, massive win for the Bengals. And, there's so many things that you could give props to for Cincinnati. The big thing is just Joe Burrow being back. And Joe Burrow not only coming back, but he, just was Joe Cool, and he did not care. He went out there, balled like crazy, and that's the bottom line. Like, went out there, balled like crazy, won the game. I do think that this Bengals team still has an outside chance of making the playoffs. I don't think, however, you look at their chances. I don't think, however, when you look at their chances and you look at how the way the schedule is settling up here, I just don't see Cincinnati. I don't see the Bengals making it. I do see them making life miserable for some teams and ruining other teams' chances, like the Bills and the Ravens, because they got to play Baltimore in Cincinnati, and they also have to play the Bills as well. So they're not necessarily out of the race, but you look at down the stretch, it is not an easy stretch. They have the Bills again, then the Ravens again, then you have 3 games where they could easily coast out and win, but you need help from other teams to get the win. And it's not going to be easy. So that's my other thing there for Cincinnati. I don't think they'll make it. I think they'll make this race interesting. I don't think it's going to be interesting enough for them to make the playoffs. Now, for Baltimore, the Ravens, man, I start out by saying this with Baltimore, and I will say this: they lost all their momentum. They lost. This was a crushing loss, crushing loss, to say the least. They had a chance to go take the division lead. They had a huge opportunity to go to take the division lead. Steelers lost last week going into this game. Steelers lost last week going into this game, and which opened the door for the Ravens to take and to have an opportunity of getting first place in the AFC North. Well, they blew that chance on Thursday, and they blew it in a big way. Lamar played horrible. His offense did not play well, and this Bengals team now has a lot of this Ravens team has a lot of soul searching to do now because of what happened on Thursday. I mean, it was a bad performance overall from the Ravens. Bad performance overall. Their offense didn't play well. Their defense was getting absolutely throttled by the running game and by the passing game of Joe Burrow. Lamar especially does take the blame for this because he did not play well in this game. He just did not. He was bad. And we've seen it before where if Lamar starts to struggle, you can start to see him make a lot of bad decisions. And that was the case for this game where he struggled, he made a lot of bad decisions, and they ended up losing the game. I don't think the Ravens are going to miss the playoffs, but this does kill their momentum a lot. And it does kill the happiness of the run that they've been on down just a little bit. I mean, you look at the Ravens from the time they got Lamar Jackson back against the Dolphins. You know, before that even too, you look at it, they beat the Bears, the number 1 seed Bears, with Tyler Huntley, and proceeded to rattle off 4 straight wins. And that is pretty impressive. And then you lose to the Bengals on Thursday on Thanksgiving. I mean, that's tough. That is really tough. And now you have down the stretch of the season, not only that, you have a tougher schedule down the stretch because you have the Steelers coming up here. You have to play the Steelers twice. You have to play the Bengals once again. You have to play the Patriots, who have been just on a scorched earth tour right now. You got the Packers. They have a tough road. They have as tough a road as anybody in this division as I could see. And it is not easy. And they need to figure it out quickly with this game coming up here against Pittsburgh. This is going to be a very big test. They have to get it right against Pittsburgh. If they don't get it right against Pittsburgh and they lose this game, because Pittsburgh has not been playing well. They've not been playing well. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. the offense isn't going well. Mike Tomlin's not playing well. He's not coaching well. This is a winnable game for the Ravens. They have to get it right here. They have to get it right going in against Pittsburgh. And it's a rivalry game. You got to get it right. You can't lose this game. So Baltimore, I hope that they can get that thing turned around. But, man, same thing with Cincinnati. But it is looking very bleak for both of these teams. And the AFC North right now overall just looks bad because we're seeing a lot of bad play down the stretch from some teams. We're seeing a lot of good play from teams that probably should have been having good play all the way in the stretch. And to be honest, I think the Bengals should have honestly stolen this division. Like, if you look at if Joe Burrow hadn't suffered that toe injury in week 2, if he didn't suffer that toe injury in week 2, we're probably having a different conversation. Like, I'll be honest. If he doesn't suffer that toe injury in week 2, it's a different conversation. He played really well he played decently well in week 1. You look at all the buildup for this Bengals team was, they got T. Higgins back. They get Jamar Chase back. Now you get Joe Burrow, 2 number 1, number 2 wide receivers. And it hasn't panned out. It didn't pan out this year. They couldn't get it going. So I've done enough talking about the Bengals and the Ravens. Now let's move on to another team in the AFC, the New England Patriots. The Pats get their 10th straight win. They sit first in the AFC, and they have the number 1 seed in the AFC playoff picture. If the playoffs were to start today, the road to the Super Bowl would go through New England. I'm sure Patriot fans have heard about this before. They've heard that story before. But New England dominating the New York Giants 33-15 in this game. They dominated New York in this game 33-15. And just another really incredible feat from this Patriots team. And I got a lot to say about New England. For starters, I got to give credit to the job Mike Vrabel has done. And being able to save this Patriots team. I mean, New England, like, you look at this team a couple years ago, they were one of the worst teams in the AFC East. They were bad. And this is too with a Bill Belichick coach as well. They were pretty bad. And Vrabel, in a span of 1 year, has turned this team from a loser to a winner in a span of 1 year for this group. And there's not more you could say about the Patriots other than the fact that Vrabel is just he's just a solid coach. I mean, he's a solid coach. And you look at who he's done it with so far this year. He's done it with a lot of help from the front office. You look at the front office this year. Elliott Wolf, has done a phenomenal job in getting this squad back to where it needs to be. Because you look at the Patriots, it was in a bad situation. They had no wide receiver help. They had no running game. They didn't really have a quarterback. They drafted a quarterback in Drake May. And, you add Hunter Henry for tight end help. Okay, that's solid. You don't have really the solid offensive line. And he went out in this offseason, and I talked about this with Kedrick Stumbris on our offseason preview. But, I talked about how the Patriots just really are trying to go out, and they're really trying to get this thing back together. And not only did they have a good free agency, but the draft class too just was really outstanding. And a lot of teams, and this is a thing too with some teams, a lot of teams can have success just simply by having one good draft. They could get themselves back into the playoff race just by simply having a good draft. And so you look at this draft class that they had. It has really, really panned out for them in a big way. Will Campbell been playing really well at tackle. Now he's on IR. I know, yeah, he's on IR. And then Travion Henderson. He hasn't, he's been splitting reps with Ramondre Stevenson, but I could fully see next year Travion Henderson being the guy. I could fully see it next year. Him being the guy that takes Ramondre's touches. Because you look at how explosive he was, and you look at Ohio State too, when he was at Ohio State. Explosive, powerful. He's good out of the backfield. He's a great pass blocker. He can catch, he can catch the ball. He can go 0 to 60 relatively quickly. And you look at it too, like I said, I said this too. I thought that the Patriots were getting a steal of a running back in a really good running back draft class too, might add. He was probably the best one out of them all. Just really complete, really solid. There's not really any knocks on him as a player. Now, he hasn't got as many Now, you look at it too. On top of that, since they drafted him this year, he leads the team in rushing yards with 625. Leads the team in rushing with 625. That is impressive stuff. And he's a rookie, and he's still got many more years left. Free agency, too. You look at it. They added a lot to that defense. They added a lot to that offense. They built around Drake May, and it has paid off. I mean, it has paid off. Drake May this year, 23 touchdowns, 3,400 passing yards. He has been absolutely outstanding for New England and the Pats. Phenomenal work. And earlier today, they Vegas upped the odds of Drake May. He has the best odds to win MVP this year. Really, what more can you say? And really, what more can you say about Mike Vrabel? I mean, the job that he's done and the job that this coaching staff has done too. I mean, you also have to look too. Went out and got Josh Daniels back on his squad. Brought Josh Daniels back. Josh McDaniels back. And to give this New England offense, the New England offense, I give credit to Braves. They're looking like a good team. Now, what I will say, however, and I will say this about New England, and I'm going to put this out here, and New England fans can either, and I'm not trying to rage bait New England fans, but this is kind of a thing that I've seen in the past with several teams. I've seen this with several teams. One mainly being the 2019 San Francisco 49ers. I think that they have that same kind of image of the 49ers of they really are playing to the easiness of their schedule, and they're beating the teams they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They're beating the teams handily that they're supposed to beat. And yeah, when we get to some of these tougher teams, we'll play well to them. We'll play well. We may steal a game. But man, they just really haven't had a good schedule this year. I mean, you look at it, they only had 2 losses all season long. One against the Raiders in week 1 and one against the Steelers in week 3. But they've played the Bills already once. Buffalo is a playoff team. You look, and you can include the Bucs as well, but they've only played 2 playoff teams. They, down the stretch, have to play the Bills and the Ravens, so they do play 2 more playoff teams. But if I'm looking at this Patriots team, it's another example of what happens when you get a really easy schedule and the stars align perfectly. We've seen this with the 49ers in 2019. We've seen this with the Panthers in 2015, where they had their schedule relatively easily and they just mowed through their schedule to get to the postseason. I see that going here with New England. And I'm not trying to say that, New England, they're not good. They're not good or anything. They're terrible. They're this, they're that. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that it's a little bit questionable because we've seen in the past, you look at the 2 teams that I named too, what has happened with those what happened with those 2 teams when they got to the Super Bowl? They lost. And not only did they lose, they lost badly. And they lost they lost badly. I mean, nothing could go well for those teams. I think we're seeing that here again with New England. And I'm only saying that just because You look at this year, the Bills aren't as good. The Ravens, I thought they were good. And then they dropped the game to Cincinnati. I just don't know. I don't know. It is there's a lot of soul searching. There's a lot of soul searching, and that needs to be done for those two teams. But for New England, I mean, like, those are, you could say, quality wins. I don't know if I'd call them quality wins. That's just me. So New England, they have Buffalo this week. They also have Buffalo this week. They got the Ravens, and then they close out their season with the Jets and Commanders. If they beat the Bills and the Ravens, first off, they beat the Bills, they win the division. Like, if they beat Buffalo this week, they win the division title in the NFC East for the first time since Brady was the quarterback there for the Patriots. And because I don't think Miami or New York is even close. And if they win that game, I don't think that because they've won every division game so far. They've won every division game. This will be the first time in a while that they've swept their division. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think that's a potential division title waiting to happen. And with 3 games left to play too. I mean, holy cow. But yeah, good luck to the Braves and the Pats. I'm very curious how they will play in the playoffs. They get a first round bye. Road to the playoffs goes through New England in the AFC, which is fantastic. But I'm still kind of waiting and seeing if they are actually, if they go out and they show that they're a legit team, and could show that they can go out and win some games. That's all I'm saying. So, third down now. Moving on to third down. Incredible. If you didn't think Bills Patriots was an incredible game this week, buddy, my friend, you have to look at this incredible slate that's going to be on tap here. There's a lot of games that could really decide a lot of potential playoff spots and a lot of potential playoff eliminations that could happen here this week, starting with a Thursday night battle between the Cowboys and the Lions. Lions are kind of hanging on by the seat of their pants right now and are trying to just hold on and make the playoffs. They're trying to win a game, trying to steal a game and make the playoffs. They just lost a brutal one to Green Bay on Thanksgiving. And now they have a matchup against Dallas at home. No Sam Laporta, no Amon-Ra St. Brown. It doesn't look like he's going to play for Thursday. And you're really going to have to rely on Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in this game. And you're going to hope that the defense gets you something. But, man, this is a big game for Detroit, big game for Dallas. So that's a big one. Both these teams need to win, and both these teams need to keep their season alive. Dallas is playing hot right now as well. That is something to watch for. We'll break down our pick of that. Then you go into the Sunday slate, and so many things happening here on this Sunday slate. Colts, Jaguars. This could be the ultimate decider of whether or not the Colts will keep the division lead or fold. Because you look at Indianapolis, and I said this after the Chiefs loss. I think they're going to fold. And here we are now. They've lost 2 straight. They have the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the Niners, they have the Jaguars and the Texans at least once again, and they have the Seahawks and the Niners. This division race is not over. And mind you, too, the Texans are creeping right behind them, and so the Jaguars. Jacksonville, 8-4, could have a chance to take the division lead in the AFC South. And so that's a huge one on Sunday. And then on top of that, too, in the AFC South, up in the AFC North, Steelers, Ravens, winner gets first place in the AFC North in the division. So that's a big one. And then on Sunday Night Football, Texans Chiefs, both teams trying to keep themselves alive and trying to keep their season going. And then Monday you have Eagles Chargers. And man, if you didn't think this script could get any more crazier, Justin Herbert might not be ready to go for this game. Eagles could have a get-right game. They've lost 2 straight now. They've lost 2 straight. Their offense has not looked good. They lost to the Bears, which was a bad loss on Black Friday in front of their home crowd. At the link, and if you're an NFL fan on this show, and Eagles fans, or if you're an Eagle fan who is listening to the show, that things need to change when things don't go well. Just saying, calling you out, Eagles fans. But this week 14 slate is incredible. It is super fun. There is a lot to unpack. And you also have to keep in mind, too, that there are some teams who are on the doorstep of being eliminated from the postseason. Teams like the Bengals, the Vikings, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Dolphins. Who else is on that list? The Falcons, I could add on the list. The Lions and the Cowboys. Like Detroit, a loss to the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football for Detroit is so massive. It kicks them out of that playoff spot. And the Cowboys right now, who have won their last 2, are looking to steal a huge playoff leap. Because looking at it, if the season were to end today, the Lions would not be in the playoffs. The 49ers would be. But if the Cowboys want to keep pace with the Eagles for the division, they have to win this game. They split the series with the Eagles earlier this year. They have to keep pace with the Eagles for this game. If the Eagles lose to the Chargers and the Cowboys win against the Lions, the Cowboys right now would be tied for first place in the NFC East. So I was saying that this division was over in the NFC East. I was very much wrong. I was very, very, very much wrong. And it's showing. I mean, holy cow. This division is looking very fun down the stretch. A lot of the games are looking pretty fun down the stretch. But let's get to the game that obviously is the big one. And we go into 4th down. Bears versus Packers. The winner of this game gets the 1 seed in the NFC. This is another classic. If you have grown up, if you are older than me, or if you are a Packers fan or a Bears fan, this rivalry is as big as Yankees Red Sox. It is big as Ohio State Michigan. It is bigger than Yankees. It is bigger than Celtics Lakers Celtics. It is bigger than Toronto and Montreal. This series, this game is up there in terms of one of the more historic rivalries in all the sports. The Packers and Bears. These teams have been butting heads for decades. And once again, we get another classic between these two teams. We got 2 really great classics last year. Bears splitting the series against Green Bay last year. Green Bay actually winning one in Chicago off of a Carl Brooks blocked field goal to win it. And mind you, that was Green Bay's only division win of the entire season. They did not win a division game the rest of the season. And they played Chicago at the end of the year, and they lost. So this game has a lot of implications. 4 starters, the Bears and Ben Johnson. If you're a Bears fan and you're a Packers fan, specifically a Packers fan, you know what Ben Johnson has said in the media. He said it was, and if you hear the clips back in his introductory press conference, him going out and him flat out saying that it was fun beating Matt LaFleur twice last year. And Matt LaFleur really didn't have much to say, but that's steaming with him. You know that's on his mind. Mind you, too, he goes and coaches the Bears. The Bears turn from one of the worst teams in the division to now they're one of the best teams in the division. And you could say that they are one of the best teams in the division. They are one of the worst teams by DVOA this year. Caleb Williams has a 58.1 completion percentage this year through most of the season. And just this is interesting stuff for the Bears. I mean, this is kind of their Super Bowl. And let me scratch that. It's not kind of, it is their Super Bowl because whenever they beat the Packers, make such a big deal about it. They make such a big deal about it. Mind you, too, the last time the Bears won a playoff game was in 2010. That has been 15 years. 15 years since their last playoff win. Since that time, the Bears have only made the playoffs twice in their tenure. They have lost both playoff games, and they have fired several head coaches, fired several quarterbacks, all to get up to this point where now they sit at 8-3 going up against the Packers, who, by the way, are also playing for a lot here. I mean, make no mistake about it, Chicago's having an incredible year. Ben Johnson probably will win Coach of the Year if he gets the Bears to the playoffs. They've had a phenomenal year so far. But Green Bay, make no mistake about it, this Green Bay Packers team, we all know where they've been. We all know where we were, we all know what happened. And I remember I even talked about this team, and I will say this too with this team. I thought the Lions are going to win this division. Now Detroit got swept by Green Bay. They may not even make the playoffs and now have a must-win game on Thursday night against the Cowboys. Meanwhile, Green Bay has a huge must-win game at home against Chicago. And Green Bay, you look at this season, they're playing very well. 8-3 on the year. Green Bay, 8-3-1, on the year. Don't forget that one tie. 8-3-1 on the year. They're 3-0 in the division. Last year they were absolutely awful. They only had one win in division play. You look in the conference though, 6-2-1. Chicago this year in conference play, 6-2, but they're 1-2 in division play. Green Bay, however, has the better DVOA, has the better offense. They have Jordan Love, who's coming off a massive Thanksgiving Day win. They have Micah Parsons on the defensive side. This is going to be a very fun game. And this is going to be a very fun matchup to watch between these two teams. You look at it, whoever wins this game is going to get into a very good spot because they get the 1 seed, they get the division lead. You also look too, this is the first of 2 series. Their next game that they play is on a Saturday in prime time. So they're going to be the main event on a Saturday night. And the college football playoff doesn't start yet at that time. And there's so many headlines to this game. And Green Bay and Chicago, you look at it over the years, these two teams have made a lot of history. History that I have to always go back and rewatch. I have to rewatch all the games. I do this every single year. Whenever the Packers play a divisional opponent. And this is me just being a Packers, lover. But whenever Green Bay plays a divisional opponent, I just have to go back and rewatch Green Bay playing like anybody in the division, the Vikings, the Lions, or the Bears. And it's the same thing every time. Green Bay just wins, the game. I always go for the Green Bay wins. It's hard to find losses in there. But you look at with the Bears, all of these games that they've had with the Bears are always so close. And that's what makes this rivalry so special. It's one of those classic, you throw the records out, nothing matters. It's just beating the guy across from you. And that's what this game is all about. Beating the guy across from you. And the winner at the end of this game on Sunday gets the NFC's number 1 seed and takes the division lead, which Green Bay held for quite a while They could potentially get it back, or Chicago could jump up to a 1-game lead with them still having to play the Packers in Chicago and could potentially win the division basically off that. So very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. We go into bringing home the bacon now. Jumping to bringing home the bacon. We're going to wrap this show up here today. And got to talk about a guy in Thanksgiving. Balled out. I'm sticking with the Packers here on this one. I'm going to be just quick on this. Jordan Love. What a phenomenal performance he had in this game against Detroit. 18 of 31, 238 passing yards, 4 touchdowns in a Thanksgiving Day win over the Lions, not to mention the massive 4th down nutsack call to go for it and complete to Dontavian Wicks for the win. Dontavian Wicks lost his shoe as well, and he still was able to go make that catch. Green Bay wins that game. Mind you, too, last few years, Dan Campbell has really dominated Green Bay over the last 2 seasons. Green Bay, the first time now, Green Bay, the first time now since 2020 that they sweep the Lions here, and they have a chance now to really control their own destiny. It really is a kind of control your own destiny type of deal. So congrats to Jordan Love. He gets on the slab of bacon this week, and he is our person for bringing home the bacon. Now moving on to Pigskin Primetime Picks. We have got an incredible Pigskin Primetime slate for you here. And it starts with this Thursday night game. The Cowboys and Lions. I got Dallas winning it by 7 in this game. When I look at the Cowboys, they're playing so well. Their offense is so red hot right now. And I've said after the Packers game in week 4 that this offense was the best offense in football. I think they have the best offense in football. The George Pickens trade does not get talked about a lot by Jerry Jones because it gets clouded for the fact of the Micah Parsons trade. But I got the Cowboys winning this one. I know Detroit has to win this game. This is a must-win game for Detroit. They lose this game, their season is over. They have no shot of making the playoffs. So I got Detroit losing this one, and it's at home. I got them losing this game at home. I got Cowboys by 7 in this game. I think Dak throws a game-winning touchdown pass at the end to win this one for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, next one, Sunday Night Football, Texans and Chiefs. I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this one by 3. Houston's defense is really good under DeMeco Ryans, but Kansas City is 6-1 at home. And I see the Chiefs going to 7-1 at home. That is a big boost for them to be at Arrowhead. I got Chiefs winning this one by 3. I think Kansas City keeps their season alive, but I think it's going to be very, very close. I could see this going either way, but I picked the Chiefs by 3. And then the last one, Monday Night Football. This one, Chargers against the Eagles. Eagles at Chargers. It's SoFi, Monday Night Football. I got Eagles by 10 in this one. I think the loss of Justin Herbert, because we don't know if Justin Herbert's going to be playing, because we're recording this on a Tuesday. This is going to come out to you before the first game on Thursday Night Football. And so if Justin Herbert can't go for Monday Night Football, the Eagles win this game by 10. I don't think that I don't think the Chargers have a fight in them if Herbert is down. I just don't see it happening. And Jim Harbaugh has done a phenomenal job getting this team to be competitive. But, man, down the stretch, they have been so shaky after having an incredible start to the season for the Chargers. I just see them faltering a little bit down the stretch here. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. Who knows? But I got them losing to the Eagles, and Philadelphia keeps pace. They stay ahead of the Cowboys. This would be huge, though, if Philadelphia did lose, because if they lose, Dallas is sitting right in first place with them in the division. So I got Eagles by 10 in this one on Monday Night Football. With that, that does it for us here on Snap the Pigskin. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Watch us on youtube.com/@snapthepigskin. And you can always go back, rewatch some of these episodes, and re-listen to some of these podcasts. And always feel free to give us a like and subscribe, or follow us on any of the podcast platforms. Next week, we are going to be going into week 15. Man, we got some good matchups this week 14. Well, week 15 is going to be interesting and exciting. We still have like 2 weeks left of the regular season before the playoffs start. 2-3 weeks left. And I can't wait. So for those of you who've been listening or watching, I'm Noah Clark. This has been another edition of Snap the Pigskin.